Good afternoon, St. Thomas. I'm Father Julian Borda, and today we get to continue our special series this summer on interviewing the members of St. Thomas Episcopal Church. And today I'm delighted to be joined by this fine man here, Mr. Ed Campbell, who is on our leadership team as well on the Vestry and has been very helpful in leading the church and getting us to a special place here. So Ed, thank you for joining me today.
Pleasure.
And yeah, we just got a couple of really interesting questions for you today. So let's start here. How long have you been at St. Thomas and what brought you here?
Well, let's see, Julian, of course, we've lived in Palmer for probably 20 or 30 years, and Ennis was close, and we were members of Incarnation in Dallas, and I'd always kind of was curious about this little small church, and I guess 4 or 5 years ago I showed up here, just cold in, and Charlie Keene was the priest, and it just, everything from there started moving in the right direction.
Yeah, he was a great priest.
He was a great priest, and when he shared his story of his addiction, and I had an addiction center then, and I dealt with addiction with my family. It just resonated with us.
Yeah, he was very passionate about that.
Yes.
So thank you. Can you tell me about your spiritual journey and how you've gotten to know God over the years?
Well, I was raised in Oak Cliff, and Wynwood Presbyterian Church was a church in Oak Cliff, which was my parents got involved, and I started there with Vacation Bible School and the Sunday School, and we were involved in that church, and then that was a Presbyterian church. And then we ended up moving out to DeSoto, and there was no Presbyterian church, so I would jump around to there was like 3 Baptist churches, always 3 Baptist churches everywhere.
Oh yeah.
So I would go there, and there was a Methodist church, and then when I was in high school, my parents helped start the Presbyterian church. So I was pretty much involved with religion throughout my younger years. As I got older and wiser, I could have looked back. I might have done a few things a little better. But other than that, there was always faith in our life.
Amen. That's wonderful. Okay, so this one is a big one. What is the greatest blessing that God has given you, and what is the greatest challenge that He's given you?
Well, at 75, I look back and I think I'm healthy, wealthy, and wise. In any order you want to put them.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's kind of a tough question, but let me go a little deeper. Can you kind of?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. The biggest blessing. So
of course, my health, my family. I was the only child. I've really at 75 have had no tragedy in my life.
That's amazing.
And so now my mother lost a sister to cancer, which is probably the closest thing, but I've just really been extremely overly blessed, Julian. And can you tell me why I'm overly blessed?
That's a good question, but the Lord had plans for you, right?
Yeah.
And has been protecting you and preparing you for different things all over the course of your life.
I did the college thing and then the business thing, but if I look back, I'm happier now than I've ever been at 75.
Wow. That's quite a blessing.
Well, yeah. So and to be involved with you in the church is just extremely fulfilling.
Amen. That's great.
And you don't know this yet, but as you age, you look back on your life and you go, why did that door open and why did this door open?
Can't really say, yeah.
Yeah, so I can't say.
Yeah,
I can't say that.
The Lord had something planned through all of that.
Yes, right. And so but other than that,
any challenges, big challenges that you could know?
No, we had trouble having children. We had children late in life. Finally got the fertility thing worked out. And then we had 2 boys.
Great kids.
And I was the only child. My parents, we were just very close. It just seems like everything was just kind of normal for me, whatever normal is.
Yeah, right.
As I look back, there wouldn't be anything I'd do different. First of all, I couldn't do it anyway.
Right, not anymore.
So, but from here forward.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you, Ed.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does church mean to you, and generally speaking, and what does specifically St. Thomas mean to you?
Well, of course, the Episcopal Church was something we got involved with later in life, and it was actually because our kids were going to an Episcopal school.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never been to an Episcopal service, and they went to Canterbury Episcopal School,
Mm-hmm.
and they were having services in a borrowed church,
Huh.
and the priest would do the Book of Common Prayer, everything you do, and
Oh, yeah.
it just kind of resonated with us, and it really, not that it kind of brought us back into religion, where we kind of, as you
Mhm.
raising kids, sometimes you kind of shelve things,
Yeah.
but got it off the shelf, Julian.
Thanks be to God.
Yes, right.
God giving you a little
Yeah,
push.
so
at
that's
that time.
what got us in. That's where St. Thomas goes. We were members of Incarnation, and I've told you this. I said, I just love the smallness of the church, the feel for it, the people. When you go to Incarnation, and they've got a policeman directing traffic to park. I feel like I'm going to a football game.
Yeah.
And so, the small church, and of course, I'm raised in the country, and this is a country church.
It is.
And I think it always will be.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Unless you grow it too big.
Well, we'll see what God has in store for us. Yeah.
Good, okay.
But I think
Yeah.
you're right that it will always have a country feel to it and
Yeah,
feel.
which we love that.
Amen. So tell me, which Bible verse or words of Christian wisdom have meant the most to you?
I think and I'm not sure where the do unto others is.
Yes.
Is that part? Where is that in the Bible?
It's from the Gospels. So Jesus saying, "Do unto others as you would have them do unto you." Yeah.
What's wrong with that saying? I mean, that covers everything, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Julian, if you think about it,
Yeah.
because us as humans, as we interact,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Very.
so that to me is probably the number one.
Yeah. The kindness of God and the love
Sure.
of
Yeah.
God.
Hey, peace and love.
Nothing wrong with that.
What's wrong with that?
Absolutely. Well, thank you. All right. And now, finally, you can tell us a fun St. Thomas story or a ministry that you love being a part of.
Well, the St. Thomas story, I guess, is really a lot about when I met you,
Mhm.
and we had some talks with the bishop, and
Mhm.
it just felt like the door was opened here for me to help,
Yeah.
and it just worked out perfect, and it did more for me than it did for the church to help.
That's awesome.
So,
Yeah.
does that answer your question? Or?
It does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It was very, very meaningful to you and many blessings from
Yeah,
that.
and I think you and your youth and you just are a huge part of what's happening here.
Yes. And as are you. You've helped us a lot.
I'll defer to you, but the whole group, the whole vestry, and the whole congregation, it's just a great group.
Yeah.
And you feel it.
Yes, I do.
I know you do.
It's been very special. All right.
Okay.
Ed, thank you so much for joining
Sure.
us, and appreciate your time. And
Yeah.
thank you all for joining us too. And we look forward to seeing you next week for this next installment. God bless you all. Bye bye.